Welcome to What the F Happened, Fraud and Financial Crime Deconstructed, a Defend podcast where we break down what's actually happening across fraud, scams, AML, and financial crime.
Each episode cuts through the noise to explain the tactics, trends, and real-world impact behind the headlines, so you're better prepared for what comes next. Let's get into it.
So if you're one of the millions of people who use digital service marketplaces, maybe you need someone to assemble that IKEA monstrosity in your living room.
We've all been there.
Right. Or you're using a platform like TaskRabbit for those home improvements you've been putting off. You're fundamentally relying on trust. The promise is speed and convenience, but the paradox is that this growth is constantly shadowed by some really sophisticated fraud.
It really is the ultimate double-edged sword. I mean, the same seamless tech that lets a great tasker find a job near you is the exact same highway that criminals try to use for large-scale exploitation.
Exactly. And today, we're going to dig right into that modern security war. Our mission is to look at the playbook TaskRabbit adopted when they partnered with DataVisor. We're going to examine the specific, often invisible fraud challenges they were up against.
And the cutting-edge technology they use to protect the whole platform and really to protect you, the legitimate user. The goal they had was simple, but pretty transformative, shaping a trustworthy e-commerce landscape.
So this wasn't just about damage control.
Not at all. They knew trust was their main asset. If they couldn't guarantee security, the whole thing just collapses. The idea was to shift from a reactive defense, putting up a wall, to a dynamic, proactive strategy that spots the entire criminal network before they can even act.
Okay, let's unpack that. First, we need to understand the enemy. This is where it gets really interesting. TaskRabbit wasn't just fighting some petty theft.
No, they were being targeted by highly coordinated fraud operations. These were designed specifically to exploit the very nature of a service marketplace. It went way beyond basic password theft.
Right.
That's a really crucial distinction. I mean, when you look at the challenges in this e-commerce space, the threats just scale up incredibly fast. TaskRabbit was facing this potent mix of 3 distinct fraud categories, and each one needed its own countermeasure.
Let's start with the one that feels the most personal, which I guess would be identity theft.
That would be account takeover, or ATO. This is where a cybercriminal uses stolen credentials, and these are often credentials they got from a totally unrelated data breach somewhere else, to get into a real user's account.
And once they're in, it's not just about a credit card number.
No, not on a service platform. They can change the payment info to their own, they can create a fake job that pays out to a friend, or they can just lock the real user out. They are effectively hijacking your digital identity on that platform. It's not just financial. It corrupts the very signals of trust.
So ATO is hijacking a good account, but what about when their goal is just pure, overwhelming volume?
That's the second threat. Large-scale mass registration. This is purely a numbers game. They use automated tools, bots, to register thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of fake accounts in a very short time.
And these accounts are disposable.
Completely disposable. They're built for one purpose, and that's scale. On a platform like TaskRabbit, they might not even be making big purchases. They're really targeting the system's legitimacy.
So how do they do that? Fake reviews.
Exactly. They use them to pollute the trust signals. They might post thousands of fake 5-star reviews for a network of their own taskers, or, on the flip side, post negative reviews to hurt the competition. They're trying to undermine the whole rating system that you, as a listener, rely on.
So we have identity theft and we have scale. But the third one, collusion fraud, that seems like the one that's hardest to spot.
Collusion fraud is absolutely the white whale of fraud detection. It's the most challenging for any platform like this because it involves multiple parties, so both users and taskers conspiring together.
They're working from the inside.
Yes. They're leveraging the platform for their own game, and to an outside observer, they just look like a regular customer and a regular service provider.
So walk us through that. How would a group actually use a service marketplace to, say, launder money?
Okay, think of it like a shell game. A colluding user account, maybe one of the thousands they mass registered, creates a totally fake high-value job. Let's say it's a custom carpentry project for $5,000. They then hire a colluding tasker to do this fake job. The platform pays the tasker the full amount. The tasker then just splits the money with the fake user, and boom, they've just cashed out stolen credit card funds using the platform as the middleman.
Wait, but if the requester and the provider are both in on it, and they follow all the platform's rules for that one transaction, How can a traditional system ever tell the difference? A single payment just looks like a single payment.
And that is the core vulnerability. In isolation, every single action looks fine. A booking, a payment, a review, it all seems legit. Traditional defenses, which just ask simple questions like, is this login from a weird location? They completely miss this.
So you can only spot the fraud when you connect the dots.
You only spot it when you see the hidden network connecting hundreds of these seemingly legitimate transactions. TaskRabbit knew if they couldn't solve this collusion problem, they couldn't win.
So with this three-pronged attack, TaskRabbit had to move decisively. What specific tech did they bring in from DataVisor to fight this network war?
They went for DataVisor's enterprise solution. And it wasn't just one piece of software, it's a whole toolkit. It includes things like machine learning models, sophisticated device and behavior intelligence, a rules engine, and really critically, a case management system for their team.
Let's pause on the machine learning for a second. That's a term that gets thrown around a lot. How did it apply here specifically?
The ML models were trained to spot anomalies in the behavior of users and taskers that might signal collusion. So, for example, if a tasker usually only takes jobs within a 5-mile radius, but suddenly starts accepting huge jobs from across the country from brand new accounts.
That's a red flag.
That's a huge behavioral red flag that a human might never think to write a rule for. The ML spots those patterns in real time.
And device intelligence, is that just about tracking an IP address?
It's so much more than that. It's about the digital footprint of the device itself, the hardware, the operating system, even the browser settings. This is crucial for catching that mass registration.
Because 1,000 accounts might have different IP addresses.
Yeah. But they might all share the exact same digital DNA because they were all created on the same bot farm. The system sees that shared fingerprint and knows it's not 1,000 different people. It's one person pretending to be 1,000.
Okay, so device intelligence spots the fake army, and machine learning flags their suspicious behavior. But the real star of the show here, the thing that cuts through the collusion fraud, is the knowledge graph. That feels like the aha moment.
It absolutely is. The DataVisor Knowledge Graph is an advanced real-time linkage tool. The best way to think about it is like it's building a giant map of the entire TaskRabbit universe. Instead of looking at one user or one payment,
It looks at the relationships between everything.
exactly. It's constantly asking, how are all these different things connected?
So it's not just asking, did user A make a weird payment? It's asking, is user A secretly linked by a shared device or a shared bank account to this other network of 50 taskers who all signed up last week?
Precisely. The power is in that interconnected analysis. It processes billions of data points in real time to give TaskRabbit this bird's eye view of hidden fraud networks. This is what lets them finally see collusion. That one shell job looks fine on its own, but the knowledge graph sees the two accounts involved share a recovery phone number or logged in from the same device 5 minutes apart, and it draws a line connecting them.
It exposes the conspiracy.
It exposes the whole conspiracy. You're not just catching one fake account, you're seeing the ringleader and the entire network.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but it also sounds like it could create a mountain of data for a human team to sift through. How did their fraud team actually manage all of that?
That's a great point. I mean, powerful detection is useless if you can't act on it. And that brings us to the practical side of the solution. That 60x increase in efficiency they saw wasn't just because the machine was better, it was because the case management tool streamlined the whole review process. Well, imagine the old way. An analyst gets an alert and then spends, days, maybe weeks, manually pulling data from different places, trying to connect dots in a spreadsheet.
A nightmare.
A total nightmare. With the integrated case management tool, an alert fires and the analyst immediately sees a visual map of the entire suspected fraud ring. The relationships are already highlighted. They see the shared devices, the timeline of the attack, all in one place. It cuts out weeks of manual detective work.
And that speed is everything in this kind of digital arms race.
Exactly. You can't take a month to investigate a fraud ring that's cashing out in minutes. And that urgency is why the flexibility of the decision workflow and rules engine was also so important.
And that's the no-code, low-code interface you mentioned.
Right. If TaskRabbit spots a brand new type of fraud emerging, their own team can deploy custom rules to fight it instantly. They don't have to wait for developers to push a big update. It keeps them agile.
It really does sound like a total overhaul of their security philosophy. So let's get to the results. What did this all mean for the platform and for the users? What were the tangible numbers?
The transformation was comprehensive. First, the bottom line. Financial protection. The platform prevented significant fraud-related losses. We're talking about protecting assets amounting to millions of dollars.
Millions. That's a huge immediate impact.
A huge impact. And then there's speed. Their ability to react to potential fraud got 25 times faster than it was before. That means they're often stopping fraud within minutes, long before any money actually changes hands.
And then there's that efficiency number, which is just, it's almost hard to believe, a 60x increase.
It is a profound figure, a 60x increase in the effectiveness of the fraud team's research and decision-making. And think about what that means for the team. They're no longer drowning in spreadsheets and chasing false alarms. They're spending their time surgically removing organized crime rings.
That's a huge morale booster, I'd imagine.
For sure. And Rob Ricks, TaskRabbit's risk manager, he summed it up perfectly. He said the solutions allowed them to stay ahead, ensuring the integrity of our platform and safeguarding our users with unwavering precision.
That unwavering precision is the key.
Yeah.
It's only possible when you stop looking at individuals and start looking at the hidden network.
Exactly.
So let's wrap this up. The key takeaway for you, the listener, from this deep dive is that securing a modern marketplace means moving way beyond just checking individual accounts.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, success hinges on shifting to sophisticated network analysis. A tool like the Knowledge Graph isn't just looking for a crime, it's looking for the collaboration. It spots the organized attack hidden in plain sight, and that protects everyone. It protects the platform's money, sure, but more importantly, it maintains that fundamental trust between users and taskers.
And that trust is really the oxygen of the whole service economy.
It is. And, if we connect this to the bigger picture, just as a final thought for you to consider, these tools are essentially designed to detect malicious human cooperation. They find the digital fingerprints of a conspiracy.
Right.
So it raises an important question. As these real-time linkage analysis systems become the industry standard, how will the fraudsters evolve? What new level of sophisticated, decentralized disguise will they have to invent to make their collaboration look completely indistinguishable from a legitimate user community?
They'll have to get even better at hiding their own teamwork.
Exactly. That fried arms race is just accelerating. And the next evolution of criminal collaboration is going to be, well, fascinating and pretty terrifying to watch.
A great and provocative thought to leave us with. Thank you for diving deep with us today on TaskRabbit's fight for platform integrity. We'll see you next time. You've been listening to What the F Happened? Fraud and Financial Crime Deconstructed, a Defend podcast by DataVisor. If you want to keep learning between episodes, check out Defend Training, a set of self-paced online courses for fraud and financial crime professionals, practical and built around real-world scenarios.
And you can earn CPE credits through the ACFE San Francisco Bay Area chapter. You can find it at datavisor.com/defendtraining. The link's in the description.